Hello, everybody. Please let me know if you can't hear me. I'm always concerned that you won't be able to hear me, although somehow you always can. And reason for that is because I have to mute my. I have to press the mute button on my laptop so that I don't hear myself talking out loud like I am now, and then also my voice coming through the computer speakers, which is very annoying. But hello, it's Bryan with Paula's Choice Skincare here for today's hour-long live chat on our YouTube channel. It is Thursday. Where did this week go? Thursday, April 19th, and I am here as usual to take your skincare, makeup, hair care, beauty-related questions. We've already got quite a few lined up, so I'll dive in. My goodness. I want to know, though, if any of you have tried the peptide booster yet, which we just launched last week. That is one of my favorite, it's quickly become one of my favorite of our products. Definitely one of my favorite new products that we've launched in a while. I really like the clinical enriched firming moisturizer as well. But I need to be, because of the amount of the blend of retinol and vitamin C in that product, I have to be a bit more careful about using that because of how my skin responds. Because I use other products that contain those ingredients, so it's kind of a balancing act. But I do think that that's a brilliant moisturizer, especially for its intended purpose. If you are noticing a visible loss or lack of firmness, you need some hydration, but don't want something that's heavier, and want a really nice mix of sophisticated anti-aging ingredients, the core of which are indisputably proven. There's some newer, more novel antioxidants in that formula that have research behind them, but just not like the years of research that vitamin C and retinol do. So anyway, let us dive in to questions. What is that? Oh, my phone. My little boy at daycare. They send photos. Alex is saying, hello, will there be a review on Beautypedia of Teague Hanley? Yeah, skincare company founded by Aaron Mariano, famous men's styler on YouTube. Alex, I don't know. I'd have to double check with the team that is tracking requests for those reviews. This is the first, your request is the first one I've seen. And admittedly, I don't have that. Those requests used to actually come. I was one of the recipients of those requests, and I don't see them. I don't get those emails the way I used to years ago. So I can check on that one. I have heard of this brand, although I don't know how to pronounce, obviously, that first name. So yeah, I'll pass on your request for sure. Haley says, hello, I just started using Different. Do I have to stop using salicylic and glycolic acid? You do not. It's not like that's a given. Like if you have lung cancer, you should stop smoking. Kind of an extreme example there. But no, you may find that you need to separate application and put on your AHA or BHA exfoliant in the morning and use Different at night. Different is adapalene, that's the drug name. It is a synthetic retinoid that has been shown probably since the early to mid 1990s, of working particularly well for unclogging pores and for resolving acne, often to a startling degree. It became available in its original lower strength of, I believe, 0.1%. It could be 0.01. I'd have to double check. But that you can get as Different gel over the counter now at your local drugstore, Target, Walmart. There is a stronger version, I believe 0.2%, that is available via prescription. So the stronger version, you still have to go see your doctor to discuss and possibly get a prescription for, or you can try the lower strength version over the counter. The only reason to not apply them at the same time is if you notice that doing so makes your skin more sensitive, you're seeing some redness or flaking, but otherwise there's no contraindication. You may read in the accordion style leaflet for Different that that you're not supposed to use those types of products, but I think that is really more written in the realm of different in and of itself can cause some undesirable side effects, all of which I just mentioned, as well as other issues like more of there's a difference between like when skin starts flaking and you're like, oh, I've got a little bit of extra dead skin, or it's just seeming kind of dry and dehydrated, versus scaling. The scaling, and think of like fish scales or like shingles on a roof when they start needing to be replaced. And when that scaling happens on the skin, and it can actually feel more rough to the touch, whereas flaking doesn't necessarily feel rough. It can, but scaling almost always does. And a prescription retinoid can cause that scaliness to happen all by itself. And the thinking is that if you're adding AHA and BHA to the mix, that could potentially compound that issue. I don't necessarily know that I agree with that, but I believe that is what the precaution is about. So if you're reading something in the leaflet, and of course, if by chance your dermatologist or physician, healthcare provider who prescribed different, it tells you to not use those at the same time, that's something to consider. But it's the workaround of separating application between morning and evening is easy enough. Anna says, hi, Bryan. Thank you for answering my question last week, and you're back this week. I love return visitors. And I have a new question today. Will PC come out with an exfoliant similar to the Drunk Elephant Baby Facial? I don't know. I mean, first of all, we would never copy somebody else's product. I have great respect for Drunk Elephant for what they do. I think that they are one of the top innovators when it comes to unique, interesting products, unique ways to use ingredients. I wish more brands would follow suit. Having said that, we have a lot of exfoliants. In case you haven't noticed, we don't necessarily have a peel type product. I don't know. I'm not saying that I am not intrigued by the concept, but we're not looking to take what another brand has done and had success with and then duplicate it. That's not how we roll. So at this point, that's the best I can tell you. We're always taking a look at our current exfoliants and examining how our customers are using them, how they're working for them, what kind of feedback we're getting. In recent years, we've come out with an 8% AHA lotion exfoliant. We retooled the weekly resurfacing treatment in Resist, that's our 10% AHA, and came out with the advanced smoothing treatment. Currently still selling both. Same thing in our Resist light blue line for normal to oily skin. Such great products if you are dealing with signs of aging and breakouts and clogged pores and bumpiness at the same time. Because if you've been out shopping for such products and anti-aging is top of mind, you're almost always confronted with thick, rich, heavy emollient creams, and those just do not jibe well if you are dealing with clogged pores and large pores, which a lot of people are concerned with, and breakouts into your 30s, 40s, 50s, and beyond. Got a bit off track there, but yeah, thank you for the question, Anna. Got a couple from Katie here. Can you clarify that there are skin types? There is a line, who shall remain nameless because we just talked about them, who believes all skin can use the same 6 products. Yeah, there are. I don't. That's if that's their philosophy. That's their philosophy. There are 6 skin types. There's no question that somebody who has dry skin has different needs in terms of textures and how products feel on skin, and to some extent what the product does. If you have dry skin, you want a moisturizer that's going to be emollient and really hydrate the skin. If you have oily skin, it's not that you don't need or want hydration, and it's not that the skin can't ever feel dehydrated, but chances are good if you have oily skin, you don't want a thick, heavy, rich, emollient cream. You don't want anything that is going to add to the oily feeling that your skin already has. Instead, you want something that's going to feel light, refreshing. You may even want another product that is going to help control surface shine, help control that shiny breakthrough so that your skin maintains more of a matte finish for a longer period of time. And there's, I think what is true without deriding another brand's what another brand believes and is promoting, is that everyone's skin can benefit from the same type of products. So within the Paula's Choice line, that would be a gentle water-soluble cleanser. That would be a replenishing, alcohol-free, soothing toner, the kind of toner that gives back to skin rather than take away. A leave-on exfoliant, AHA or BHA, or you can alternate between the two. Sun protection, broad spectrum, SPF 30 or greater. A moisturizer that is suitable for your skin type. Gels, liquids if you have oily skin. Lotions, gels, gel cream if you have combination skin. If you have normal skin, lucky you, you can pretty much pick whatever texture is your personal preference, and that may take some experimentation. If you have dry skin, you're going to want either a heavier lotion, meaning like a lotion that is more front-loaded with some oils and emollient ingredients like squalane, or you can, of course, go the classic cream route, of which there is a variety of textures, ranging from that bouncy cloud-type cream texture, which is definitely on the lighter side, to really more of a buttercream texture. And again, some experimentation is needed. So we've got cleanser, toner, leave-on exfoliant, sunscreen, moisturizer, and then number 6 would be a serum type of product that is going to deliver a concentrated dose, a concentrated amount of antioxidants, skin replenishing ingredients, and skin restoring ingredients, more of those and delivered in a more targeted way than what can be put into a facial moisturizer, because you have to leave room in the moisturizer for those other ingredients that work to replenish hydration and make skin feel smoother and more supple. Here we go, and I'm not even drinking coffee right now. My sparkling Dasani. My grocery store, you know I love sparkling water. My grocery store discontinued, or at least stopped selling, the 2 flavors that I loved from the Nestle brand. It was like Nestle Pure Life, and they had this mango peach pineapple flavor that was just fantastic, and then they had a dragon fruit strawberry one, which really did taste like strawberry essence, shall we say. And it was a very natural tasting strawberry. Strawberry is a hard flavor to get right. If you've ever had like a really good ripe, fresh strawberry, like those yummy California strawberries, or that tiny, tiny window, usually in mid-June in Michigan, where Michigan strawberries come in. Oh, they're fantastic. If you are ever here in the summer and you have the opportunity to buy fresh strawberries, like from a grocery store, or even better from a roadside stand, you know, farmland there, it's well worth stopping. Okay, and Katie's other question, which boosters are the best for clear pores and glowing skin? Not much sun damage. I like our 1% retinol booster. If you're concerned by clear pores, I assume you mean unclogged pores. If your concern is more pore size and you want to use one of our boosters to get your pores back to their normal size, the retinol booster can certainly help with that, but I would give the edge to our 10% niacinamide booster. You could alternate between the two. You mentioned not much sun damage. Retinol is going to give you more for your money in terms of improving the appearance of sun damage. Niacinamide can help to a certain degree, but niacinamide can help from a coloration aspect of sun damage in terms of making your skin tone look more even, less mottled, and retinol can do that as well. They go about doing so differently. Retinol has the anti-wrinkle and the firming edge compared to niacinamide, but there's no reason you couldn't use both. In terms of a glow, I think you'll get a glow from either one of those. If you have drier skin, though, for certain, the most glowy booster we offer is our oil booster, which I love during the winter months. You can mix it in with any moisturizer or serum. You can apply a drop or so on its own. So give those a go. Rocco Buzz, haven't seen you for a while. Welcome back. Says, hi, I wonder if you'll ever make supplements. If not, can you recommend any? Is fish oil legit? Maybe cilantro extract. No plans right now to make supplements. We've discussed it at various times in the past. I don't think that's something that Paula's Choice would ever venture down on our own. By that I mean all of our skincare products, if not, maybe like we're to the point where there's like 95% are our own proprietary formulas that we own, we develop. Obviously, we contract with different manufacturers to make our products. But in the case of supplements, I think that would be something where we would have to partner with an established company. We would want to make sure that the supplement industry, it's almost like it's a rabbit hole. It's a rabbit hole in terms of legitimacy, misleading information. It's almost harder to even tackle than the cosmetics industry is in terms of trying to set the facts straight. So we would really want to make sure that we partnered with a legitimate company that was on the up and up and had, I think, what is called GCP certification, which you'll sometimes see on supplement labels. So I'm looking at brands. I'm thinking of brands like Nature Made and Now. And this is just me supposing out of my own head, as far as like how we could go about handling that. But it's an interesting prospect. In terms of supplements, general disclaimer, obviously, this is not a chat about medical advice or really even supplement advice, so please talk to your physician before taking any supplement that you aren't already taking and whatnot. And especially, actually, this is a really quick reminder and aside that when you are talking to your healthcare provider about any supplement or medication, always let them know everything that you take, even if you think, oh, I'm not going to list that it's natural, or oh, I'm not going to list that it's just a vitamin. That type of stuff matters, and especially in the case of prescribing certain medications, there can be interactions between supplements that seem, oh, they're available over the counter and anybody can buy them, or I got it on Amazon. There can be interactions that you may not be aware of, but your healthcare professional, your physician is, and that's why it just, even if you think it's insignificant, always list everything that you take, whether it's daily or weekly or whatever. So having said that, I take an omega-3 fish oil supplement every day with a meal. I usually take 1 or 2 in the morning. I'm a big breakfast fan. I have to eat first thing in the morning or you just don't want to be around me. It's, how some people are like, don't talk to me until I've had my coffee. I love my coffee, but you can talk to me then, but don't really talk to me until I've gotten some food in my system because I need it. I'm not a skip breakfast person. And thankfully, my husband gets up ahead of me and is very sweet and kind enough to almost always have something waiting for me when I make my way into the kitchen. Cilantro extract's kind of a new one. I love cilantro in terms of just using it in food. It's actually one of the produce items we almost always have in our house. Very polarizing. People either love cilantro or they hate it. It's been my experience. I don't necessarily know why you'd want to take it as a supplement, though. I haven't seen any research on that, but you may have come across something that I missed. So the only other one that I started taking coenzyme Q10, a fat-soluble form of that I bought on Amazon. Don't know the brand off the top of my head, but I started taking that in relation to its impact on sensorineural hearing loss, which is something that I've been dealing with, and it's actually gotten a lot better. And then I do take 3 or 4 times a week, I'll take a vitamin D supplement, about 2,000 IUs of it. I don't take it as much as I used to because when I did have my D levels checked by my doctor, my level was just a little bit below the normal range. I know a lot of people who have had their D levels checked and it's just alarmingly low. And these are people that, get outside regularly and aren't too great about sunscreen and their D levels are still low. So that would be something to talk to your doctor about potentially taking, or at the very least having a vitamin D blood test to see where you are on the scale, because that's, for many reasons, that's an important nutrient, and it's a harder one to get via food, especially if you're vegan. I am not, but I know a lot of you are. Maya says, will any of the other PC products be getting a makeover too? Love the new look for the boosters. Well, thank you. And yes, I think I may have mentioned this a chat or two ago, but the entire Paula's Choice line is getting a visual makeover. So you'll start seeing that roll out through the rest of this year and into 2019. Roll says, hey Bryan, can you tell me something about the criteria for choosing the new packaging on the boosters? And will the whole... Okay, so I answered that second question. The criteria for choosing the new packaging on the boosters. Well, I wasn't involved in those specific packaging decisions. What I care most about and what I know that our team is always focused on when they're looking at packaging is compatibility with the product. That is something that we test for, and if there are problems, we either choose a different type of packaging or we look at different packaging materials. We always look at air permeability for the formulas that this is quite a few of our formulas that contain light and air sensitive ingredients. We want to make sure that those ingredients are protected from those exposures to the extent possible. For example, even though our vitamin C booster, the C15, is packaged in a opaque glass bottle with a dropper applicator, there is a special air restrictor inside that when you pull the dropper tip out and push it back in, it keeps the air from going deep down into the formula. So it kind of just hits the restrictor and goes back out. So those are some considerations that we look at. How is the packaging going to, the compatibility, how is the packaging material and the packaging mechanism of action going to affect stability of the product for its intended use and for what we estimate will be the normal lifespan of the product once it's opened. For example, because of the amount of vitamin C and the nature of the formula with the C15, I keep going back to that, we recommend using that within 3 months after you open it for maximum potency. It does not mean that on day 91, the formula is no good anymore. However, it is right around that point that it does start losing effectiveness, and then that gradually starts going down. I use the C15 for all kinds of stuff, so I personally have no problem going through it in less than 3 months. But I get that there may be people who just use it occasionally for various things. In that case, if that describes you, I would actually direct you toward our C25 product, which is a spot treatment. It's in a tube. It is non-aqueous, which automatically helps stabilize the vitamin C. It's much easier to stabilize ascorbic acid in a non-aqueous formula than it is in a water-based formula. That's just a fact. That is not saying that our water-based C15 is unstable. It is not. It works beautifully. So yeah, that's kind of a long answer to say that those are packaging considerations. And of course, no jars, except for the Lip and Body Treatment Balm, this little guy right here. This is really about moisture and protection. It does have a little wheat germ oil in it and vitamin E, which are antioxidant ingredients. Those probably aren't lasting a heck of a lot too long in there because of the jar packaging. This is a customer favorite product. It's kind of like our exception to the rule, if you will, because we have tried to put that in a tube, like a chapstick style tube. It absolutely does not work in a squeeze tube. You cannot get it out. It is too thick. But it just didn't work in the stick either because it has to be what's called a hot fill. And when you do a hot fill into a chapstick style tube, the product has to have enough wax in it to solidify in stick form pretty quick, to kind of cool in that cylinder and then be and maintain a firm stick texture that you can wind up, put on, and wind back down and take with you. This formula doesn't have enough wax, and that's one of the reasons why it feels so great on the skin, and it feels different than a lot of lip balms that you may have tried in the past. So that is why that formula is still in a jar, and I think that we would have customers picketing and throwing tomatoes outside of our office in Seattle if we ever got rid of that product, because it's just so amazing and so many people love it. So it's one of those products that we're just kind of loath to tamper with, because we know what and a lot of us at the office too. That's like a desert island product for us. Kristen asks, what are the best products to use on my hooded eyes? I'm only 36, but based on my genetics, it's going to get much worse. I have reasonable expectations of what can be done without surgery. Well, that's good. So when I'm assuming what you're talking about is the upper eye area becoming more hooded, and if that is something that is progressively happening and genetically related, which it is for a lot of people, surgery really is, just to be clear, your best option. What's happening well beneath where any skincare or eye area product could reach, regardless of its claims, is that the fat pads underneath this area here, underneath this bony ridge, are slipping out of place and causing their falling down a bit, if you will, part of it due to gravity, and then they start protruding through the skin. A surgical intervention, they can actually suture that fat pad back into its original position or close to it. I'm oversimplifying, but that's just to kind of give you a quick explanation of how that can be done. With skincare, unless you are there's some things you could take a look at. There isn't a single skincare product I can think of, a specific product, right? Say, oh, try this eye gel, try this eye cream, try this eye lifting product. I don't think any of them are going to really remedy the visible problem. What you can do, if you know, for example, that you have allergies, you can talk to your physician about over-the-counter or even prescription allergy medications, particularly if you notice that, like for example, let's say you have seasonal allergies and you notice that your eye area gets even puffier, or that protrusion seems to look even more pronounced during allergy season. You could talk to your doctor about taking over-the-counter or prescription antihistamines to see if that has a visible result on how that area looks. Other than that, there's some makeup tricks you can use in terms of keeping in mind the color concept, that light colors around on the eyes bring things forward and dark colors recede. So you could look at doing some shading of the area that pooches, and then doing a lighter wash of eyeshadow color on your lash line, on your eyelid, and then on your lash line you could do a thinner liner color, because obviously you could line your eyes with beige or white, but it looks a bit strange on most people and it just tends to look more theatrical. If what you want to do to make your eye more defined or to give more bulk to your eyelash line, you're going to want to do a thinner line as close to the lashes as possible in a color like dark gray, charcoal, classic black, varying degrees of brown without going to orangey brown. All of those would help. So I'm sorry, I wish I had a better answer for you. If you notice, another thing you could talk to a cosmetic dermatologist about as you get older, and if you're not quite ready for that surgery yet, is what the cosmetic dermatologist could do around the entire eye area. If you're noticing that while this area is protruding more, you're starting to see more of a hollowing around your eye, which happens to us as we age. Some people faster than others, depending on bone structure, fat pads shifting at different rates, and just the overall size of your face. Somebody who has a round or wide face is going to see hollowing later traditionally than somebody who has a thin, narrow face, or someone whose face is just naturally thin. Is going to probably see that hollowing around the eye sooner. So a cosmetic dermatologist can strategically use dermal fillers around the eye area to restore that plumpness that would make the protrusion on the upper eye less apparent. Probably not as much as you'd like though, which is why ultimately at some point I suspect you're going to need to have that surgery. My mother had that surgery done, and actually I believe most of it was covered by her health insurance, because the protrusion got to the point where it was disturbing her vision. She was having trouble seeing because of the heaviness and the weight, and now it looks great now. It really does. Okay, where did we leave off? Let's do some lightning questions here. A couple from Bella Rizzo, one of our regulars. Hi, Bryan. Poor visibility wasn't an issue I had, but after using products that were too heavy for my skin for over a year, it caused them to stretch, clog, etc. This month I used niacinamide almost every day, and it has helped. Okay, but I still have various tiny holes on my cheek. What else can I do? Is it possible to go back to no more poor visibility like I once had? Probably not. The tiny holes, I'm almost wondering if those are scars. You could describe large pores as tiny holes. It could be, I don't know if you've mentioned in the past, Bella, your age, and you certainly do not have to mention that if you don't want to, but one of the things that you could be seeing is the effects of cumulative sun damage. Most of us, myself included, weren't always, we didn't know about the dangers of routine UV exposure. We didn't know about the importance of wearing sunscreen every single day as opposed to just when it's sunny or just when you go to the beach or just when you know you're going to be outside. We know a heck of a lot more about how UV light damages skin and the insidious ways it goes about doing that. So it's possible, if you're in your early to mid 30s, that what you're seeing is some amount of cumulative sun damage that is showing up as enlarged pores, and the pores that you didn't used to see are starting to look like tiny dots and holes on the skin. You mentioned niacinamide, terribly itchy nose there. You could try using our BHA 9 or the advanced pore refining treatment with 4% BHA over those areas. You could put the exfoliant on first and then the booster. And see if that nets you some further improvement in the look of the pores, and it certainly should help with skin texture. So give that a try. Oh, the Wells wanting sneak peeks of some PC products that are in the works. I can't. I shouldn't. Of course, I know that I know there are some and whatnot because I'm pretty actively involved in that. How did I put it before? I mean, we're really just, overall, we're looking to expand on the line, and we're always with an eye on making sure that we have products, single products, product groupings that make sense for specific combinations of skin types and skin concerns. And we are moving, in a sense, more toward creating product textures that can be used by all skin types. That just going back to what we were discussing earlier about skin types, the fact that we're creating more products with textures for all skin types does not mean that we don't believe that there are different skin types. There are, and that is one of our core beliefs. It's really about reinforcing our concept of lighter weight textures that you can layer, and really kind of moving towards the goal of letting our customers fine-tune and personalize their routines and not have to feel that they can't use a certain treatment type product, for example, because it's not right for their skin type. It's too heavy, it's too this, it's too that. So it's almost like emphasizing those lighter weight, layerable, middle of the road textures that are really workable for all skin types. And then you have your core products, cleanser, toner, moisturizer that you can choose specific to your skin type. And then the other products you layer in aren't going to make those products necessarily feel heavier, but they're going to dovetail beautifully with those textures that are more skin type specific. Gianna says, first time question asker, long time user of PC, with a cute little emoticon. It almost looks like a gumdrop. That's kind of fun. Can BHA, so Gianna asks, can BHA be drying or is it considered hydrating? I recently started using the 2% BHA liquid and love the glow it gives me. So there is research showing that salicylic acid, which is the ingredient name for BHA, is in fact hydrating. Depending on the formula though, for some people BHA exfoliants can be drying. For example, an acne-like toner that has a lot of denatured alcohol or witch hazel Both are ingredients that chemists can use to solubilize salicylic acid. Salicylic acid in its raw state, as used in cosmetic products, is basically it's a crystalline powder, and it can do something in formulas that aren't calibrated well enough called salt out. That can happen if the pH is off or whatnot, and then you'll notice that happening because if you look at it like under a microscope or even with a magnifying glass, the crystalline structure of salicylic acid, where it once kind of almost looked like little snowflakes, without kind of a picture like rounder snowflakes, like snowflakes as you see them in cartoons, it starts looking more like a jagged icicle. Or like if an icicle had like cool little whiskers on it. Anyway, those are the kind of BHA exfoliants in those alcohol witch hazel-y type bases that would not be hydrating. In the case of our 2% BHA liquid, the solvent type ingredient that we use that helps the BHA be even more hydrating and gives you that glow is called methylpropanodiol. That ingredient is a great alternative to the drying alcohols that are often used to solubilize salicylic acid, and they work for that purpose, but they are not necessarily the nicest ingredients to put on your skin, to put it mildly. Let's see. I know, Bella, you've asked this question before, and I don't think I've gotten to it. Can you recommend a tinted moisturizer for normal to dry skin that has SPF, even coverage, antioxidants, and any other beneficial ingredients, please? Keep in mind that you could look to one of the foundations that the Beautypedia team recommends that is light to medium coverage and has those great ingredients, and then you could simply shear it out with a moisturizer with sunscreen if you wanted to. Off the top of my head, I think that the newer tinted moisturizer that Bare Minerals did, which I think is called Bare Skin, would be worth looking at for the combination that you spoke of. Our Barely There Sheer Matte Tint would have been good for that, but that's not available at the moment. Let me take a quick peek on. Oh, I always have all these studies open. Such a nerd. But it helps you guys, so it's worth it. Okay. Oh, best. I need to get on Beautypedia more. Yeah, Laura Mercier has some good tinted moisturizers to be sure, but I wonder, oh, that's expensive though. Yeah, the Skin Medica one, the Total Defense is a good one, but it's, oh, the Complexion Rescue. That's the one. Complexion Rescue Tinted Hydrating Gel Cream, Broad Spectrum SPF 30 from Bare Essentials is a good one. That's what I played with. Anti-aging face tint. Oh, that's, yeah, let me take the Strivectin brand. Remember them? Their Works Like Botox Claim? That would be, yeah, this has got some good ingredients in it. Check that one out too, Bella. It's Strivectin Clinical Corrector Advanced Anti-Aging Face Tint with Broad Spectrum SPF 30. Not too pricey, under 40 bucks, unless there's been a price increase since then. Okay, let's get back to our questions. Back to our regularly scheduled program. Anthony says, hello, Bryan. Love these live chats. I was wondering if there's ever in the future going to be another sunscreen with a tint. I like the Resist SPF 30 for oily skin, but it's too drying sometimes. Thanks. Never say never. We don't have one that is like, oh, we're going to launch next month. But I think you might see a product like that from us down the road. Sunscreens can take a while. Elena says, hello, Bryan. Does mineral sunscreen get deactivated in the sun like synthetic actives do? It does. Not the same way, though. It's interesting because the mineral, a lot of times you'll read that the mineral sunscreens work by reflecting the sun's rays, and the synthetic sunscreen actives work by absorbing them and converting them to heat energy before they can damage the skin. Both of those things are true, but what's also true is that the mineral sunscreen actives absorb and reflect. So they kind of do both. And it's in that absorption that they steadily get broken down. It's almost like they have a life cycle, kind of like batteries in your remote control or batteries in your cell phone. It lasts for so long, and then it has to recharge itself. Well, we recharge a sunscreen by reapplying it. That loss of battery life, so to speak, sticking with that analogy, occurs when your skin is continuously exposed to UV light, which is why the general rule about or recommendation to reapply sunscreen every 2 hours no matter what ends up being silly and doesn't apply to most of us during the course of our day. It's really important to apply sunscreen every 2 hours. This is a separate discussion from water-resistant sunscreens if you are swimming or sweating profusely, so keep that in mind. But unless you are outside or sitting by windows, like I am today, although our windows are treated, and constantly being exposed to UV light or direct sunlight, your sunscreen is going to remain effective for much longer than 2 hours. We get a pause. Hold on. Well, looks like we're still going. Bit of a delay. Okay, sorry about that. Oh, someone just said I look cute. That's very sweet of you. Not feeling so cute today, but thank you. Oh, all right. Jessica mentions or asks, also, does salicylic acid stop different from working? No, it shouldn't. In fact, if anything, the keratolytic action, the exfoliating action that a well-formulated salicylic acid product has will allow Differin to work even better because it will enhance its penetration into the pore lining. Win-win. Ria says, I'm 22 and I have 2 fine lines under each of my eyes. What can I do about them? Those are probably just natural. If you look close enough at little kids, they'll start to get those lines, before their 10th birthday. It may, I apologize for my dog's barking. He's a stinker. If you're not already doing so, my number one thing, and you probably know this, is to wear sunscreen. At the very least, apply sunscreen around your eyes, whether it's in a lightweight mineral type eye cream. Kiehl's has a good one that you can apply around your eyes. It's actually a specific eye cream that they sell. There are some concealers that have sunscreen. So if you are applying concealer around your eyes as a matter of course, for dark circles, for brightening, whatever, it can certainly help to look for one that gives you additional sun protection too. I'm trying to remember who has. I believe Estee Lauder's Double Wear is still made with a concealer, and MAC has one. I believe their Studio Finish concealer has SPF 35, last I knew. But you can check Beautypedia for the reviews of those and for other concealers that have sunscreen. Mally Beauty used to make a good one too. And I'm saying used to because I'm not 100% sure that they still do. It's called Cancellation Concealer. You can check that out as well at your local Ultra store. That's where I usually see that brand these days. Come to Turkey. Someone's saying, could you guys please come to Turkey? I cannot even find alcohol-free BHA and a good mineral sunscreen for my oily skin. We really need you so much. Turkey. So there must be a reason why. And I apologize for sounding ignorant here. But I'm not up on all these things. I'm assuming we're not available in Turkey because Turkey is not a European Union member country. And I don't know what the stipulations are in terms of, I couldn't even say for sure that you could order from Paula's Choice United States and that we would ship to you in Turkey. I'm assuming you have tried or looked into that and it is not an option, which is why you want us to come to Turkey. I will certainly share that information with our Vice President of International. We are always looking for new markets. We're always looking to bring our message of truth and beauty to women and men. I'm so sorry. I'm sure this carbonated water isn't helping. We're always looking to bring our message of truth and beauty and our product to women and men around the world. So for right now, all I can do is say I'm sorry. We're not available there. I don't have all the details as to why, but I will share that information. If I do get some insights on that behind the scenes stuff, I will let you know in future live chats. Gino asks, where am I from? Obviously from some place where people burp a lot, which would be Michigan, which is true. Not so much the burping part, but I'm born and raised in Michigan, and I lived in Seattle for almost 20 years, and moved back here in late 2015, about 9 months after my son was born. Decided to raise him closer to my family, and it's been great. And Paula's Choice has been amazing and letting me keep my job and keep talking away at you guys. Yeah, there are some hiccups in the transmission. Go a little bit further here, just to make sure. Okay. Got about 12 minutes left, but I might push it a little bit just to get through some more questions here. Okay. All right. Hiccups in the transmission. Tatiana says, good skin bacteria. Hi, Bryan. Thanks again for these Q&A sessions. Do BHA and AHA kill good skin bacteria, which are essential for skin's overall health? Did you listen to the Fat Mascara podcast and Dr. Whitney Bowe talking about that? I don't even think that's really what she meant, if that was the case, because I heard that and it seemed to me that she was really talking about barrier disruption in the case of scrubs, like harsh scrubs and cleansing brushes, which I absolutely think, along with some of the bad stuff they removed some of the good stuff. I responded, we're going to be posting something on our Facebook page, if we haven't already, about that. But the long and short of it is that I could not find any research showing that using AHA or BHA exfoliants on skin, even every day, has a detrimental effect on our skin's microbiome, on the balance of the friendly bacteria and the not so friendly bacteria. But here's what we do know. A lot of the friendly bacteria on skin that plays a pivotal but oftentimes invisible role. I mean, if you're just seeing good skin, you're seeing good skin. In the health of our skin, they release, as they break down, lactic acid as a byproduct. And they are compatible in an acidic environment because our skin, the pH of our skin, is naturally acidic. So although I could find research showing that the AHA, BHA ingredients were helpful in general in that regard, I could not find anything that showed that using those ingredients was destructive or damaging to skin's microbiome. What Dr. Bowe, and again, if your question is from that Fat Mascara podcast, which I thought there was a lot of interesting information there. I'm not denigrating the podcast whatsoever. I just want to make sure that we're getting our facts straight and understanding what was really being said. And I'm losing my train of thought. I was going to talk about it. Oh, what Dr. Bowe was saying in terms of what you would start seeing in that regard, sensitive skin, reddened skin, dry, dehydrated skin. The vast majority of people that use AHA and BHA exfoliants, even on a daily basis, even twice daily, aren't seeing those issues. If anything, they're seeing those issues become less and less as they go on using the leave-on exfoliant. And the reason for that is because I really believe that those ingredients have a synergistic effect with our skin, with the good bacteria on our skin that helps keep it healthy and young looking. So that's my take on that. As they say in the news, this is a developing story. It's something that I am going to keep my eye on, but I am encouraged by what I was not able to find at this point. And this would, even speaking anecdotally, as someone who's been using a leave-on exfoliant in one form or another for 18 years. I'm not seeing the deleterious effects, if indeed there are any. I've only seen improvements with ongoing use of the exfoliant, and when I've had periods where I've stopped using it, which pretty much in my situation would be like when I travel and I'm thinking, okay, what do I really want to take with me, and how can I pare down my routine to the bare minimum, for 4 or 5 days? And in the past, I thought, oh, I'll just cut out the exfoliant. I've exfoliated enough lately. I can get away with skipping that for a while. And typically by the end of the trip, like by day 4 or 5, I'm like, I want my BHA. Where did it go? So now I take it with me in some form or another. And we have the little sizes in some of them, which are awesome for traveling. Okay, let's see if we can get through some of these questions a little bit faster in the time that we have left. Lily says, I have a question about sunscreen. I recently learned that you have to use 1 milliliter of sunscreen for your face to get the SPF that is stated on a product. What are your thoughts on this? Is it true? Specifically, no. I wouldn't say that it's true that everybody needs 1 milliliter. Every time you come across a recommendation like that, specifically for the face, use a dime-sized amount, use a nickel-sized amount, use 23 grams, whatever it is. It doesn't apply to everybody. People have different sized faces. I have a large face. I need more sunscreen than, like, for example, a woman who is 5 feet tall and all of 90 pounds and has a smaller frame, smaller build. She has less physical space to cover than this fat punum. She has less physical space to cover with sunscreen. So for her to use the exact same amount as me doesn't make sense. She'd be overdoing it. I may not be doing enough. I may need more. So that is why our general advice is forget about measurements when it comes to that type of stuff and just put on a layer that you can see and massage it in. You don't want your sunscreen to go away. If you are looking at a department store sunscreen and it comes in a teeny tiny bottle and it's $95 and the salesperson is saying, oh, it's going to last you for 2 or 3 years. Maybe if you're applying just a tiny pea-sized amount to your entire face, but that is not going to get you to the SPF rating on the label. You need to apply a layer you can see, blend it in, give it a few minutes to absorb. By absorb, I mean more like set, to its intended finish, not completely absorb into the skin. Sunscreens don't work that way, and you don't want them to. If they absorb completely into the skin, what's left on the surface to protect you? Cassie says, I wash my hands 30 plus times a day with a chlorhexidine soap. You must be a healthcare worker or very clean. It's very drying, but I work in a hospital. Got ahead of myself and can't use something else. I want to use SPF, but it seems useless because washing too much. I see the dilemma. However, while you're at work and judging from what most hospitals are like, you're probably not exposed to too much natural light going into patients' rooms. But, in a lot of the hospitals I've been into, it seems that the patient room windows are tinted or treated somehow. So on the positive side, I don't think your hands are getting as much UV light exposure as you think they might. What you can do for those times when you are taking a break, going outside, walking to your car at the end of your shift, is just keep a little tube of sunscreen in your purse or in your locker and just make it a habit to, when you do your last hand washing and you're on your way out, before you leave, put your sunscreen on. And yes, I know you're supposed to wait 15 to 20 minutes, but sometimes you just have to, live your life and not be so beholden to rules like that. Especially if you're just going to your car and driving home or meeting somebody after work for dinner or whatever, you're not just going to go lay on the beach. Lindsay says, hello from Turkey. What product do you suggest for those dark spots on the legs that appear after shaving and waxing? That is probably what's known as post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation. And if you have a darker skin tone and the spots, you mentioned that they're dark spots, if they are tan to brown in color, you could try using a hydroquinone product or a high-strength vitamin C product. If the spots are light pink to red, I would say a vitamin C product or a product with a high amount of niacinamide, like our niacinamide booster could help a lot. Second to that, I would take a look at what you're using to shave and wax with, and whether or not those products may have irritating ingredients or be too fragranced. Both of those can trigger irritation in skin, so be sure, if that is the case, to look for alternatives to such products as well, or even alternate forms of hair removal. Even like, for example, if you can't find an irritant and fragrance-free wax or shaving cream, but you can find a fragrance-free depilatory. Not saying depilatories can't be irritating, and they absolutely should be used only as directed, but that may be a better solution for you than waxing or shaving. So something to consider. Okay, doing good on time. Elena says, would you agree that the right type of clothes protect skin better from UV light than the best sunscreen? Thank you. I would, actually, if you are using sun protective clothing that has a UPF rating. And the reason I agree with that is because clothing is less vulnerable to deterioration, and it's not going to rub off your skin the way sunscreens, even the best ones, can. So with UPF rated clothing, brands like Coolabar, Sun Precautions, I do that when I'm going to be outside, like in the summer, and I'm on the lake paddleboarding or doing something else, on a boat or whatnot. I don't like having to apply and reapply sunscreen to my entire body. It's a pain, it's a hassle. I don't like how it feels. That, and I tend to burn and then tan in the sun, and it's just harder for me to keep track of that much more skin. So I love the sun protective clothing in terms of like those Coolabar long sleeve t-shirts with the really tight weave, and they're like UPF 100, and they can be laundered like 50 times before they start losing their protection. You can get them wet. So in that sense, they're just hardier and easier to deal with than having to worry about sunscreen. Having said that, of course, I'm not going to wrap my face in a shirt or put a bag over my head. So I wear a hat and sunglasses, and I put generally a mineral sunscreen goes on my face for that type of an activity. They tend to work better for me in terms of not giving me any color change, which is not what I want. Hi, dear Bryan. Big hello from China. I don't have a question here. All I wanted to say, thank you. I love you. Haha. Taking care, and best wishes to you and your husband, and of course your baby. Oh, thank you very much. That is from Quang? Kang? Sorry. You might have to like phonetically type out your name because I probably just butchered it, but if I got it right, I'm happy about that. NG88 and a bunch of other numbers says, is there anything I can do for hollowness under the eyes other than fillers? Not skincare wise. There are various other procedures, some surgical, some not, that you can talk to a cosmetic dermatologist about. It's true, but honestly, fillers and surgery are probably your best. There are the lost facial volume that leads to that hollowness can only be minimally addressed with skincare. Of course, sunscreen, critically important. Just you know why. Products that contain ingredients that help to visibly firm the skin, like our new peptide booster, like a lot of the serums and moisturizers we sell, and of course you can find products like that, those from other brands too. Those products that can influence skin's visible firmness can only partially address the issues around hollowness, and really not to a noticeable extent like they can issues of like when you start getting a bit of crepey like skin around here, or even like down here. They can help a lot more. Okay, I'll pick out a few more questions here. Reaffirming the lip and body balm, thank you. Jessica says, yes, I'll be that person throwing tomatoes. Gosh, a lot of people don't want that body balm to go. See, I know this stuff. Michelle says, will PC ever come back to QVC as a today's special value or offer any exclusive sets there again? I'm not sure of our future with QVC. The products are still sold on their website. I think you may see Paula's Choice represent there again, but I don't really have any more details to share beyond that. It's just we have a good relationship with QVC. We've done well for them. They love Paula. So, okay. Tico says, hi Bryan. How long do I have to wait after applying 2% BHA to apply a face cream? As long as you want to. It's completely up to you. There's no reason to wait if you don't want to. Applying a moisturizer over the exfoliant, unless you're worried about giving it more time to absorb, which you can certainly do. A couple more minutes. Not required. Again, it's optional. Applying a moisturizer or serum or other treatment product over your exfoliant is not going to disrupt its pH. You're not going to throw off the pH and then cause it to be ineffective. That tends to be the concern of most people who have this question, so I just wanted to get that out there. Love PC, and thank you for not testing on animals. Noted. And yeah, I don't mean to be glib there. That's something I'm very proud of, that we do not test on animals. We are Leaping Bunny certified, and we are, although some of our products do contain some animal-derived ingredients, so we can't say we're 100% vegan. We have made the company-wide decision going forward to no longer use animal-derived ingredients, and we are looking at phasing out the animal-derived ingredients that we are using. In some cases, it's I don't want to go into detail about it now, but it's trickier. But yay, that's the news. There you go. Okay, let's take one more question from someone who asked a question later on in the show. How about Joanna? She says, oh my God, I'm finally here for a live chat. I have a red spot with some texture under my eye area next to my nose. It looks like a sunburn, but it's not. I have dry skin and my routine has not really changed. In addition to that, I have really dry skin, don't really break out, and have been dealing with this for about 2 or 3 months now. Sometimes it looks worse than others. Sometimes you can barely see it. Joanna, this is definitely more of a serious question. I suspect you might be dealing with a skin cancer. I don't mean to alarm you. I am not diagnosing you via this live chat, nor do I have the credentials to do so. But from what you've described and from what I know about how skin cancers start and how certain ones look, you need to see a dermatologist soon. Don't wait. Call them and let them know that you suspect what you have on your face could be a skin cancer or a precancerous lesion. Something called an actinic keratosis. Even if you are younger, those can still pop up depending on the amount of sun damage you've had or how much tanning you've done, indoors or out in your lifetime. So I really, really want you to go get that checked out. Do not waste time looking at skincare solutions for that. Not saying that skincare solutions couldn't help make it look better, but you've got the sore that goes away and comes back, the texture you described, the redness, the fact that it looks like sunburn, but it's not. It could be something else. It could be a patch of dermatitis, and it could be something that a prescription steroid cream, which you'd use short term, could remedy. But you really want to rule out whether or not it's like a basal cell or a squamous cell carcinoma, which are 2 different types of skin cancers. Both are easily treatable if caught early. So again, time is not on your side here. You need to emphasize this to your dermatologist and make sure that they see you as soon as possible. If you don't have a dermatologist, now would be a good time to find one. Barring that, you could go to your regular physician, but I don't want them to misdiagnose you or dismiss you or say it's just dry skin and send you on your way, and then you find out later on it's something more serious that you should have seen a dermatologist for. I'm harping on this, and we do need to wrap up, but yeah. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for asking that. I'll try to get back to some of these questions. And guys, please know when we end the show, the live questions go away. However, if I did not get to your question and you want to come back to the chat, after it's posted and leave your question in the comments section. I will do my best to get to it, even if I didn't get to do it live in this hour. So I went over, but thank you. There's always so many questions and so many good questions, and I really appreciate you guys joining me. Let me verify. I know I'm doing another chat on the 26th of April, which is next week. Oh gosh, see, I'm like totally, we're on the 19th already. So yeah, I will be back next week for another live chat with y'all. So bring your questions, bring your concerns. I love hearing from all of you all over the world, our new fans, the people that join us, and the ones that show up week after week and keep the conversation going. Thank you so much. We'll talk soon.